The morning in Elmore began like it always did, unreasonably loud. Inside the Watterson house, chaos had already reached maximum capacity before 8 a.m. Nicole was speed-walking through the kitchen with military precision. Richard was attempting to microwave cereal for reasons no one understood, and Darwin was calmly reading a comic book upside down. At the center of it all stood Gumball Watterson, dramatically staring at an empty pizza box on the table, as though it were evidence in a high-profile crime case. "This," Gumball announced, pointing accusingly, "is a betrayal of the highest order." Darwin blinked. "It's breakfast." "It was dinner leftovers," Gumball corrected, "which makes it sacred." Richard slowly raised his hand, still chewing. "Hypothetically speaking, if someone ate it in their sleep, does that count as stealing?" Nicole's eye twitched. Gumball gasped theatrically. "You monster!" Darwin tried to mediate. "Maybe we can just order more." Gumball placed both hands on the table and leaned in. "No, Darwin. This isn't about pizza anymore. This is about justice." The lights flickered. No one noticed at first. The argument escalated in pure Elmore fashion. Wind began blowing indoors for no reason. Dramatic music played from nowhere. A close-up shot zoomed in on Gumball's eyes, as though the fate of the universe depended on carbohydrates. "I challenge you," Gumball declared, pointing at Richard, "to a duel of honor." Richard blinked slowly. "Can the duel involve nap time?" Suddenly, the TV screen in the living room glitched. Static crawled across the walls. The air crackled faintly, like a storm building inside the house. Darwin looked up this time. Does the house usually vibrate like that?" Gumball waved dismissively. "It's probably just the animators saving budget." But the vibration intensified. The ceiling rippled like water. Pixels distorted the edges of furniture. The kitchen clock spun wildly backward, then forward, then melted entirely. Nicole stopped mid-step. "Okay, that's new." A thin line of purple light sliced across the ceiling. Then it tore open. A swirling vortex erupted above the kitchen table, glowing with unstable energy. The wind inside the house reversed direction, pulling napkins, cereal boxes, and Richard's spoon upward. Gumball stared at it, awestruck. "Okay," he whispered. "Either this is a crossover episode, or I finally broke reality." The vortex widened. Its glow wasn't pastel like Elmore's usual weirdness. It was darker, sharper, more intense, like something from a universe where shadows lasted longer and consequences stuck. Darwin grabbed Gumball's arm. "I don't think that's normal cartoon chaos." Nicole shouted, "Everyone get down!" But the portal pulsed once, like it was scanning. And then it locked onto Gumball. A beam of energy shot downward, wrapping around him like digital chains. He floated slightly off the ground, limbs stiff with surprise. Guys?" he squeaked. "I don't think it wants pizza." Richard reached up lazily. "Can you bring snacks back if you're going somewhere?" "Richard!" Nicole yelled. The energy tightened. Gumball felt something strange, not pain, but pressure, like gravity was arguing with itself. Through the vortex, faint images flickered, skyscrapers, red skies, metallic towers rising from an ocean. This wasn't Elmore. This was something else. "Darwin!" Gumball called, trying to keep his voice steady. "If I disappear, tell everyone I was brave." "You're not brave," Darwin replied tearfully. "You're panicking." "Okay, fine. Tell them I looked brave." The portal roared louder. Nicole lunged forward, but her hands passed through Gumball like static. For the first time in a long while, Gumball wasn't joking. He was scared. "I didn't mean to break anything," he muttered. The vortex responded with a violent surge, and in a single flash of purple light, Gumball vanished. The portal snapped shut instantly. The house returned to normal. The clock reappeared. The cereal fell back into bowls. The wind stopped. Silence filled the kitchen. Darwin stared at the empty space where Gumball had been. Nicole slowly lowered her hands. Richard blinked. So, no more duel. Darwin's voice trembled. He's really gone. Nicole clenched her fists, scanning the ceiling as though daring it to reopen. But Elmore looked perfectly fine. Too fine. Because somewhere beyond their sky, the vortex reopened, this time high above a city far darker than Elmore had ever known. And as gravity reclaimed him, Gumball Watterson plummeted toward a towering structure rising from the ocean. A red symbol glowed on its rooftop. The world below was not drawn with soft lines and pastel humor. It was sharper, heavier, real, and Gumball was falling straight into it. Wind screamed past Gumball's ears as he plummeted through unfamiliar air. "This is not how I wanted to travel," he yelled, flailing wildly. "Where's the safety tutorial?" Below him stretched a vast ocean, dark and restless. Rising from its center stood a massive T-shaped tower built from steel and glass. A red emblem glowed on its rooftop, pulsing faintly against the twilight sky. The atmosphere felt different here, heavier. In Elmore, falling from the sky usually resulted in a cartoon crater and mild embarrassment. Here, gravity felt committed. Gumball squinted at the tower, growing closer. "Okay, brain. Time to activate emergency cartoon logic." He snapped his fingers. Nothing happened. He snapped again. Still nothing. Why is this universe ignoring my dramatic timing? The tower roof rushed up fast. At the last possible second, something green shot upward like a rocket. A shape-shifting blur slammed into Gumball midair. "Whoa, dude!" shouted a surprised voice. They spiraled together before crashing onto the rooftop in a chaotic tumble. Metal groaned under the impact. Gumball lay flat on his back, dizzy but intact. A green-skinned boy with pointy ears blinked down at him. "Okay, you're definitely not a pigeon." Gumball squinted. "Are you a pickle? Because I feel like I've been tackled by one." The boy frowned. "I'm not a pickle. I'm Beast Boy." From the rooftop entrance, 3 more figures emerged quickly, alert and ready. A young man in a red and black suit stepped forward, posture rigid and controlled. Behind him, a metallic half-cyborg adjusted an arm cannon, and a cloaked girl with violet hair hovered silently above the ground. Gumball's eyes widened. Oh, wait, I know you guys." The serious one spoke first. "Identify yourself," said Robin, voice firm. Gumball jumped to his feet and brushed himself off dramatically. "Name's Gumball Watterson, full-time student, part-time chaos magnet." The cyborg's eye glowed as he scanned him. "No weapons, no tech, biological readings are weird." "Define weird," Beast Boy asked. "Like his molecules can't decide what animation style they belong to." The cloaked girl's eyes flickered faintly. "There's dimensional residue on him." Gumball raised a finger. "In my defense, I did not schedule that portal." Robin stepped closer. "Portal. Yeah, big swirly purple thing. Sucked me out of my kitchen mid-pizza crisis. Honestly, terrible timing." The team exchanged glances. Before anyone could respond, the rooftop lights flickered. Cyborg stiffened. Energy spike detected. Same signature as his arrival. Far across the ocean, Lightning cracked across the sky, but it wasn't natural lightning. It pulsed in rhythmic purple waves. Gumball slowly turned toward it. "Oh no, please tell me that's just dramatic weather." Raven's voice was calm, but tense. "It's not." A ripple spread across the skyline. For a split second, the distant buildings glitched, flickering into flat pastel shapes before snapping back to normal. Beast Boy's jaw dropped. Did the city just change art styles? Robin activated his communicator. "All units on alert. This isn't random." Gumball hugged himself nervously. "Okay, hypothetically speaking, if two universes start overlapping, is that like bad, or mildly inconvenient bad?" "Catastrophic," Cyborg answered bluntly. The tower shook gently. Far below, waves began forming strange geometric patterns, bending at impossible angles before smoothing out again. Robin turned sharply toward Gumball. "What happened before you came here?" Gumball hesitated. The humor faded slightly. "We were arguing," he admitted. "Things got dramatic. The world kind of reacted." Raven's eyes glowed faintly as she studied him. "Your universe operates on instability. Emotional exaggeration triggers physical change." Gumball blinked. "Yeah, that sounds about right." Robin processed this quickly. "And if that instability spreads here?" Another glitch flickered across the sky, this time longer. A giant floating thought bubble briefly appeared above the city, reading, "To be continued," before vanishing. Beast Boy stared upward. "Okay, that's not normal." Cyborg checked his scanner again. "The energy source isn't just random leakage. It's focused." "Focused," Robin repeated. A deep, distorted hum echoed across the ocean. In the far distance, a faint silhouette stood atop a high-rise building, watching. The purple lightning converged toward that figure, like veins feeding a heart. Raven's voice lowered. "Someone is pulling it." Gumball swallowed. "So, this isn't just my bad luck." Robin's gaze hardened. "No, this is deliberate." The tower's alarms suddenly blared to life. "Dimensional breach expanding," Cyborg shouted. A swirling tear began forming in the sky directly above Jump City, larger than the one in Elmore. Gumball stared at it in horror. "That's my portal!" But it wasn't the same. This one was controlled, stable, weaponized. Robin stepped forward, cape snapping in the wind. "Titans, we have a situation." Beast Boy cracked his knuckles. "First alien invasion I've had all week." Starfire soared upward, energy glowing around her fists. "We shall protect this city." Raven hovered higher, cloak rippling in dark waves. Cyborg powered up his arm cannon. And standing in the middle of them all, Gumball Watterson realized something terrifying. In Elmore, chaos was funny. Here, it felt dangerous. The portal above the city pulsed once more. And from within its swirling center, a mechanical device slowly descended, anchored by purple energy beams that pierced the skyline like claws. Robin narrowed his eyes. "This isn't an accident," Gumball whispered, barely audible over the wind. "I think someone wanted me here." The mechanical device descended slowly from the portal, rotating with deliberate precision. It wasn't cartoonish or exaggerated. It was angular, metallic, and disturbingly symmetrical, like it had been engineered in a world that respected physics. 4 beams of purple energy shot downward from its core, anchoring themselves into different points across Jump City. Each beam pulsed in steady intervals, spreading a ripple through the skyline. Gumball flinched as another glitch tore through the air. For a split second, a nearby helicopter transformed into a 2D paper drawing before snapping back into 3-dimensional metal. Cyborg stared at the readings flashing across his HUD. That device is stabilizing the portal. It's locking two-dimensional frequencies together. Translation? Beast Boy asked. It's forcing your world's rules into ours, Cyborg replied, glancing at Gumball. Robin's jaw tightened. And that means... Raven finished calmly. Reality collision. Another pulse surged from the device. The ocean beneath Titan's tower briefly turned pastel blue with fluffy animated waves before hardening back into dark, realistic water. Gumball grabbed his own arms. Okay, I take back what I said about cool crossovers. High above the city, the portal widened. Purple lightning danced outward, forming a circular halo across the sky. And then, a figure appeared on a distant rooftop, standing still, watching. Even from far away, his silhouette radiated calculated control. Robin's voice lowered immediately. Slade. Beast Boy groaned. Oh, come on. It's always him. The figure did not move, but the machine above the city responded to its presence, glowing brighter as if synchronized to his will. Gumball squinted toward the horizon. Is that the edgy rooftop guy? Because I feel like he skipped straight to villain posture. Stay behind us, Robin ordered. Okay, but statistically speaking, I attract plot, Gumball muttered. As if proving his point, the machine emitted a focused beam that shot directly toward Titan's tower. Raven reacted instantly, raising a dark energy shield around the rooftop. The beam struck it with explosive force, sending cracks of violet energy across the barrier. Starfire soared into the sky, starbolts igniting around her fists. I shall confront this villain of the darkness. She launched forward, blasting at the device midair. Her energy struck, but instead of exploding, the blast fragmented into colorful confetti before harmlessly drifting away. Starfire blinked midair. That was unexpected. Cyborg cursed under his breath. The machine is converting incoming attacks into low-impact outcomes. It's adapting. Robin assessed quickly. It's not just merging realities, it's filtering them. Another pulse radiated outward. This time, the rooftop floor beneath Gumball briefly flattened into a bright yellow background, with thick black outlines, like a frame from his own world. His body flickered between animation styles, shifting from crisp 2D lines to shaded dimensional depth. He staggered. Okay, he said weakly. That feels like motion sickness multiplied by existential crisis. Raven hovered closer, her eyes glowing faintly as she examined him. You are the anchor point, she realized. Gumball blinked. I prefer the term main character. No, she replied calmly. The machine is using you as a bridge. Your presence makes synchronization possible. On the distant rooftop, Slade finally raised his hand slightly. The machine responded instantly. A focused column of energy shot downward, not at the tower, not at the city, but at Gumball. Robin leapt forward, shoving him aside just as the beam struck the rooftop. The metal floor melted into a glowing circular symbol etched in purple light. Gumball scrambled back. That was personal. It was precise, Robin corrected. He's targeting you. Beast Boy transformed into a falcon and shot into the air toward Slade's location. But halfway across the skyline, the air itself glitched. Beast Boy momentarily turned into a low-resolution pixelated version of himself and lost altitude before correcting mid-flight. Okay, that's cheating, he shouted. Cyborg clenched his fist. We can't attack the machine directly while it's synchronized to him. We need to break the connection. How? Starfire asked, hovering beside them. Raven's gaze returned to Gumball. By disrupting the bridge. Everyone looked at him. Gumball pointed at himself. Why does that sound painful? Another pulse shook the tower. This time, part of the skyline permanently changed. One building now stood with exaggerated cartoon windows and vibrant, impossible colors. The merge was accelerating. Robin activated his communicator. Jump City evacuation protocols. Move civilians underground. He turned back to the team. Slade engineered this. He pulled Gumball here intentionally. Gumball swallowed hard. So I wasn't random. No, Robin said firmly. You were selected. The machine hummed louder. Cracks began forming in the sky around the portal, spreading outward like a shattered mirror. Through those cracks, faint glimpses of Elmore flickered. Houses with rounded edges, smiling clouds, absurd billboards. Gumball stared at the fragments of his world. Guys, if that thing keeps pulling... Raven nodded. Your universe could begin overlapping permanently. Meaning what? Beast Boy asked, landing back on the rooftop. Meaning, Cyborg said grimly. No more separation. The portal roared louder, energy spiraling violently. Slade's voice echoed across the city through amplified speakers built into the machine. 2 worlds, one governed by chaos, one by order. His silhouette stood unmoving against the crimson sky. Tonight, we test which survives. Gumball's hands trembled slightly. For the first time since arriving, there was no joke waiting at the end of his sentence. Okay, he whispered, staring at the widening rift above Jump City. This is definitely my fault. The words echoed in the wind between skyscrapers. This is definitely my fault. For once, Gumball Watterson wasn't exaggerating for dramatic effect. Above Jump City, the portal churned like a cosmic storm. Cracks of purple lightning splintered outward, carving fractures across the sky. Through those fractures, Elmore flickered in broken fragments. Soft green hills, smiling clouds, oddly shaped houses. And each flicker lasted longer than the last. Slade's amplified voice cut through the chaos. Your world operates without discipline, he declared. Consequences reset. Destruction dissolves into comedy. Weakness hides behind absurdity. Robin stepped forward, fists clenched. You don't get to judge another world. Slade remained motionless on his distant rooftop. I am not judging. I am studying. The machine above the city pulsed again. This time, a wave of energy rippled outward and washed across the Titan's tower. Gumball gasped as the rooftop beneath him transformed completely, flattening into bright pastel colors, thick outlines sketching every edge. The red T symbol glowed cartoonishly vibrant. Beast Boy stared at his hands as they briefly stretched like rubber before snapping back. Okay, that's actually kind of cool. It's not cool, Cyborg snapped. It's destabilizing the environment. Another pulse followed immediately, stronger. The rooftop snapped back into realistic steel and concrete. Gumball stumbled as gravity seemed to shift slightly heavier. That's not fair, he muttered. Pick a style. Raven hovered higher, her cloak swirling in dark currents. Her eyes glowed as she analyzed the surge. The machine is alternating dominance, she said quietly. One pulse forces your world's physics outward. The next reasserts this one. Robin's expression hardened. He's testing which laws override the other. Slade's voice returned, calm and measured. Imagine it, Titans. A world where failure is permanent, where actions carry irreversible weight, where chaos cannot simply redraw itself. Gumball swallowed. He looked up at the portal again. Through a widening crack, he saw his house in Elmore. Nicole pacing, Darwin staring at the ceiling, the living room frozen in confusion. The image flickered violently. For the first time, fear overpowered embarrassment. "Hey!" Gumball shouted toward Slade. "That's my home!" "And it is unstable," Slade replied. "Your very presence erodes structure." Cyborg scanners beeped urgently. "Energy output rising. He's increasing the extraction rate." "Extraction?" Beast Boy repeated. Raven nodded grimly. "He's not just merging worlds, he's siphoning Gumball's dimensional signature." Gumball blinked. "My what now?" "The part of you that defies cause and effect," Raven clarified. "The inconsistency." Robin turned sharply to him. "When you bend reality back home." "How?" Gumball hesitated. "I don't know. It just happens. When things get dramatic, or unfair, or funny." "Emotionally triggered," Raven murmured. Another blast of purple energy shot downward from the machine, slamming into the ocean around the tower. The water rose in impossible spirals, some sections animated like looping GIFs, others heavy and realistic golly. The shoreline began warping. Cars in the distant streets flickered between realistic vehicles and flat 2D sketches. Jump City was unraveling. Robin activated his communicator. "Evacuation progress?" 70% complete, came a response. "But infrastructure is glitching." "Move faster," Robin ordered. Starfire floated beside Gumball, her expression earnest. "You must not blame yourself. You did not construct this device." "Yeah," Beast Boy added. "You're just the interdimensional battery he's stealing." "That is not comforting," Gumball replied. Another pulse struck, this one focused directly at him. Energy wrapped around his body again, lifting him slightly off the ground. Purple lines traced along his outline like a scanning grid. Gumball winced. "Okay, that definitely feels personal." Robin leapt upward, throwing a series of explosive discs at the machine. They detonated mid-air, but the blasts converted into harmless bursts of glitter. Slade's tone sharpened. "Your tactics are predictable." Cyborg charged his arm cannon to maximum output, then unpredictable. He fired a massive sonic blast straight at the machine's core. The beam struck, and for one hopeful second, the device flickered. But then it absorbed the energy, redirected it, and amplified it. A shockwave exploded outward, slamming all 5 Titans to the rooftop. Gumball cried out as the energy chains tightened around him. The sky cracked wider. A full section of Elmore's skyline pushed through the rift, hovering partially above Jump City like a misplaced background layer. Robin forced himself to stand, cape torn slightly. "This isn't just about control," he realized aloud. "He's trying to isolate the stronger physics." Raven's eyes widened faintly. "He wants to determine which universe overrides the other." "And then?" Beast Boy asked from his knees. "Then," Cyborg said grimly, watching the readings spike off the charts, "one of them collapses." Gumball's breathing quickened. The energy around him intensified, pulling small fragments of cartoon static from his outline, like sparks being extracted from a wire. He clenched his fists. "I didn't ask for this," he whispered. From across the skyline, Slade finally stepped forward into clearer view. "You didn't need to," he replied coldly. "You are an anomaly, and anomalies are tools." The machine above roared louder than ever before. The portal expanded to nearly triple its original size. Elmore's sky bled across Jump City in streaks of pastel light. And standing in the center of the rooftop, suspended in violet energy, caught between 2 worlds, Gumball Watterson felt something shift inside him. Not just fear, not just confusion, but pressure. The kind of pressure that built right before something snapped or changed. The sky shattered with one final thunderous crack, and the rift between Elmore and Jump City fully opened. The sky didn't just crack, it split. A roaring fracture tore across Jump City's horizon, stretching from one end of the skyline to the other. Through it poured the bright, saturated colors of Elmore, soft greens, exaggerated clouds, oddly cheerful suburban rooftops bleeding into a darker, steel-framed metropolis. For a moment, both worlds existed on top of each other, and then gravity lost patience. Buildings bent sideways. A city bus folded like paper and popped back into shape. Streetlights stretched like rubber bands before snapping upright again. The ocean beneath Titan's tower turned into a looping animated wave cycle, then hardened back into realistic churning water. On the rooftop, Robin forced himself to stand despite the tremors. "Titans, formation Delta," he ordered. The team snapped into motion instantly, discipline cutting through chaos. But chaos didn't care about formation. A ripple of pastel energy burst outward from the portal, washing over downtown. A nearby skyscraper flattened into a two-dimensional backdrop, its windows drawn as simple black rectangles. Cars below became simplified doodles rolling on invisible wheels. Beast Boy stared in awe. "Okay, that's actually kind of amazing." "It's destabilizing structural integrity," Cyborg barked, scanning the city. "Load-bearing physics are fluctuating." In the center of the rooftop, Gumball Watterson hovered mid-air, still bound in violet energy strands streaming from the machine above. "Hey, I think it's using me like Wi-Fi," he shouted. Raven floated closer, dark aura steady despite the flickering skyline. "Your universe runs on narrative exaggeration. When tension spikes, reality bends." "Yeah," Gumball replied nervously. "That's usually when the punchline hits." Another pulse surged. This one hit Titan's tower directly. For a split second, the team's outlines thickened. Shadows disappeared. Background details simplified. The entire rooftop transformed into a bright cartoon frame. Robin blinked as his cape briefly behaved like a weightless sheet of fabric with no mass. "Focus," he snapped. The style snapped back, hard. Weight returned, sound sharpened, the air felt heavier again. Slade's amplified voice echoed across the merging skyline. "You see the contrast, Titans? One world thrives on discipline, the other dissolves into absurdity." A fresh wave of energy erupted from the machine, this time focused downward into the streets. From above, the Titans watched a surreal battlefield form. Half the city followed realistic physics. Smoke billowed naturally. Debris fell with believable momentum. The other half followed cartoon logic. Falling objects paused midair until someone looked at them, only to crash down dramatically seconds later. A chunk of concrete plummeted toward a parked car, then froze in midair. Beast Boy pointed. Shouldn't that..." The concrete waited. Silence. Then it dropped suddenly, smashing the car flat with exaggerated impact lines and a comedic boom that echoed unnaturally loud. Cyborg stared at his readings. The laws are alternating block by block. Robin clenched his fists. "We don't fight the chaos, we outmaneuver it." "How do you outmaneuver nonsense?" Beast Boy asked. "You anticipate patterns," Robin replied sharply. But that was the problem. Cartoon logic didn't follow patterns. It followed emotion. Another surge of energy shot from the machine into Gumball's body. He winced as static peeled from his outline like glowing threads. "Okay, that's definitely not part of the script," he yelled. Raven's eyes flashed white. "It's extracting the anomaly signature." "Translation," Beast Boy demanded. "It's separating his world's physics from him, concentrating them into the device." Robin's eyes widened slightly. "He's isolating cartoon logic." As if confirming the theory, The next pulse didn't spread randomly. It created a spherical zone in midair above downtown. Inside the sphere, reality turned fully cartoon. Explosions produced confetti instead of fire. Cars bounced instead of crumpling. People briefly transformed into simplified silhouettes before snapping back. Outside the sphere, everything remained grounded. Heavy. Real. Slade's silhouette stepped forward across the rooftop in the distance. "Observe," he said calmly. "Two systems. One must dominate." Gumball strained against the energy holding him. "You can't just pick which universe wins," he shouted. Slade tilted his head slightly. "On the contrary." Cyborg aimed his armed cannon at the machine. "I say we stop talking and start blasting." "Wait," Robin ordered. He studied the spherical cartoon zone carefully. "When the pulse hits," he said slowly, "the absurdity spreads outward. Then it retracts." Raven nodded faintly. "Like breathing." "Exactly," Robin replied. "It's rhythmic." Another pulse expanded the sphere, larger this time. Buildings inside briefly inflated like balloons before settling back into shape. Robin's voice sharpened with tactical focus. "We hit the machine between pulses." "And if the timing's off?" Beast Boy asked. Robin didn't hesitate. "Then we adapt." Gumball watched them, confused and shaken. But something shifted in his expression. They weren't panicking. They were strategizing. Another pulse surged. Stronger. The cartoon sphere expanded dangerously close to Titan's tower. The rooftop flickered again, flattening momentarily into bright colors. Beast Boy's arm stretched comically long before snapping back with a rubbery sound. "Okay, that's getting old," he complained. Cyborg charged his cannon. Energy peak in 3, 2. The pulse retracted. The sphere shrank slightly. Robin raised his hand. "Now!" Cyborg fired a massive sonic blast directly at the machine. At the same time, Starfire shot upward, starbolts blazing. Beast Boy transformed into a falcon and dove straight for the energy beams anchoring the device. For one glorious second, Titan tactics and cartoon chaos collided head-on. The blast struck the machine. The sky flashed white, and the pulse rhythm shattered completely. The Titans did not retreat. They adapted. Robin's mind moved faster than the shifting laws of Elmore. "If their physics resets every few seconds," he muttered, analyzing the way a falling bus had flattened against the pavement like rubber before bouncing back into perfect shape, "then force is irrelevant. Impact doesn't hold." Cyborg's mechanical eye recalibrated, tracking Gumball's erratic zigzagging. "It's like fighting inside a broken video game engine. Damage isn't permanent." "Correction," Raven said quietly, her cloak fluttering even without wind. "Damage is optional." Starfire blinked in confusion as Darwin cartwheeled up a wall, leaving behind glowing orange footprints that chirped like birds. "Optional? But pain is usually not optional." "Here," Raven explained, watching as Aeneas sketched something into the air with a pencil that became a sword, that became a sandwich. Narrative overrides consequence. Beast Boy cracked his knuckles. "Cool, so we just gotta become the main characters." Across the field, Gumball grinned, overhearing every word, despite being impossibly far away. "You guys are thinking too small. In Elmore, logic isn't broken. It's creative." Robin refused to be baited. "Titans, formation Delta." They shifted instinctively, Cyborg front and center, Starfire hovering above, Raven behind with shadows pooling at her feet, Beast Boy circling. Robin launched a flash pellet. The explosion erupted in blinding white and instantly transformed into a burst of glittering confetti that rained down with party horns and a cheerful banner reading, "Nice try." Cyborg groaned. "That was high-grade tactical equipment." Darwin raised a hand. "Ooh, Can I try something? Without waiting for permission, he inhaled deeply and blew out a stream of bubbles. Each bubble reflected a different version of the Titans, pixelated, claymation, hand-drawn in crayon. When the bubbles popped, the Titans flickered. For one terrifying second, they felt themselves simplify, colors flattening, outlines thickening. "No," Robin growled. "Hold your form." Raven's eyes glowed violet as she anchored their reality with dark tendrils. The flickering stopped. Gumball tilted his head. "Okay, that's actually kinda cool." Robin leapt forward, staff spinning with precision. He aimed not for Gumball, but for the ground beneath him. The asphalt cracked in a perfect circle, destabilizing the cartoon cat's footing. For a split second, real physics applied. Gumball stumbled. Cyborg seized the moment. Sonic cannon! A concentrated beam of energy blasted forward, compressing air into a shockwave that roared across the battlefield. But just before impact, Aeneas snapped her fingers. The beam froze midair. It hung there, humming, then slowly transformed into a neon arrow pointing back at Cyborg. "Uh-oh," Beast Boy muttered. The arrow launched. Cyborg barely raised his arm shields in time. The explosion knocked him back through 3 buildings, each collapsing like cardboard cutouts, before springing upright again with a metallic ding. Robin clenched his jaw. "They're redirecting intent." "Not exactly," Aeneas corrected calmly. "We're recontextualizing it." Starfire dove from above, fists blazing with green starbolts. She struck Darwin directly. And instead of impact, her punch produced a dramatic freeze frame with bold text, "To be continued." The screen effect shattered like glass, and Darwin reappeared beside her, sipping a juice box. "You gotta commit to the bit," he said helpfully. Starfire hovered back, bewildered. "They fight with jokes." "They fight with expectation," Raven replied. Gumball's grin faltered for the first time. "Okay, that's getting a little intense." Robin exhaled slowly. "They anticipate attacks. They subvert them, so we stop attacking." Beast Boy blinked. What? "We change tactics. They expect aggression. We deny it." The Titans went still. No charging. No glowing energy. No dramatic stances. Just 5 figures standing calmly amid the chaos. Elmore itself seemed confused. A floating anvil drifted uncertainly overhead before gently lowering to the ground. Gumball squinted. Aren't you gonna, punch something?" Robin crossed his arms. "No." Darwin looked at Aeneas. "Is this reverse psychology?" Aeneas frowned. "Possibly. Or they've identified the feedback loop." Without conflict to twist, Elmore's reality wobbled. A banana peel materialized under Robin's foot. He didn't move. The peel slowly deflated like a sad balloon. Gumball tried again. He windmilled his arms dramatically. A piano dropped from the sky and landed softly like a pillow. Darwin's smile dimmed. "Okay, that's weird." Raven stepped forward. "You see, your power depends on reaction, on escalation. Without momentum, your absurdity loses velocity." Gumball's ears drooped slightly. "That's not how cartoons work." "Maybe not," Robin said evenly. "But that's how strategy works." Aeneas studied them carefully. "They're introducing stability, a constant." Cyborg dusted himself off, standing tall. "And constants are hard to bend." Beast Boy smirked. "Guess it's not cartoon logic versus Titan tactics." Robin met Gumball's eyes. "It's discipline versus chaos." The sky above Elmore rippled again, this time not with randomness, but tension. 2 systems, 2 rule sets, colliding. And for the first time since the rift opened, the battlefield wasn't laughing anymore. The wind over Jump City carried both worlds in a strange harmony. One moment, The skyline flickered into pastel Elmore shapes. The next, it returned to sharp steel and glass. Every blink, every shift became a test of control versus chaos. Gumball hovered midair, still bound by the violet energy, watching the Titans like a student studying a complicated math problem. Except this math had banana peels for variables and exploding anvils for constants. Okay, Gumball muttered. Let's see. If I react, they expect me to escalate. If I don't react, they force stability. I think I'm trapped in a logic loop. Raven's eyes glowed faintly. Not trapped, observed. They're teaching you restraint. Gumball blinked. Teaching me? Like a school lesson? I already flunked Advanced Chaos last semester. Cyborg grunted as he recalibrated his sensors. These readings are insane. He's not just resisting the portal physics, he's adapting mid-extraction. It's like trying to measure a tornado with a ruler. Beast Boy flitted beside him, constantly shifting shapes to test the boundaries of the cartoon reality bubble. One moment, he was a pixelated T-Rex. The next, a paper-thin stick figure. They're really messing with us, he said, ducking a bouncing piano that appeared out of nowhere. Robin didn't flinch. They aren't messing. They're analyzing. Every overreaction, every hesitation, every instinct. It's being used against us. Starfire clenched her fists. So we do not fight their chaos with chaos? Exactly, Robin said. We fight with patience, positioning, and prediction, not with flashy moves or brute force. The moment we overcommit, we give them control. Gumball's ears twitched. Okay, so you're telling me the Titans are playing the long game? Yes, Raven said quietly. They impose rules on chaos. They create a fixed point. That point becomes your anchor. He glanced down at the streets below, where animated citizens scrambled in a looping panic. Cars bounced in impossible arcs, street signs wiggled like jelly, and a stray dog spun in midair for no reason at all. Gumball's stomach churned. Normally, he muttered, this would be hilarious. Now, terrifying. A sudden pulse from the machine above sent another wave of purple energy cascading across the city. This time, the sphere of cartoon physics expanded sharply, encompassing multiple city blocks. Buildings became simplified doodles, streets flattened, and people's silhouettes exaggerated with comically large eyes. Beast Boy transformed into a giant eagle and tried to smash through the edge of the sphere, only to bounce off as if hitting an invisible trampoline. Man, that's not even fair. Raven's cloak rippled as she extended her shadows around the Titans, locking the edges of the rooftop in place. They cannot maintain dominance when we refuse engagement, she explained. Every attack, every overreaction feeds their control. Deny them that input. Cyborg's arm cannon glowed. So, we just wait. Robin's gaze stayed fixed on Gumball. We don't wait. We move precisely. We predict. We guide chaos without feeding it. Every Titan must act like a constant in a storm. Gumball tilted his head. Okay, but how do I fit into this? I'm the storm, not the constant. That's why you're the key, Raven replied. Your presence destabilizes them. Your unpredictable physics are what makes the machine function. If we stabilize around you, we can control the extraction. Gumball swallowed. Control the extraction sounds slightly painful. Robin ignored him. Titans, spread out. Monitor energy nodes. Do not react emotionally. Remember your formation and your roles. Starfire shot into the air, scanning the city blocks within the cartoon sphere. I detect multiple inconsistencies in structural behavior. Timing must be precise. Cyborg recalibrated his targeting. I can sync my cannon to exploit microgaps in the pulse, but we'll need Gumball to remain stable, or at least predictable for a few seconds. Gumball's eyes widened. Predictable? Me? Predictable is what I call boring breakfast cereal. Then fake predictability, Robin said. Act like what they expect, but controlled. Your reactions must serve the team, not the chaos. Darwin, who had been floating nearby, nodded earnestly. So, basically, we tricked the trickster? Yes, Raven confirmed. Control the response. Stabilize your energy signature. Deny the machine its feedback loop. Another pulse surged. Buildings stretched and flattened. Animated pedestrians flipped upside down, and gravity briefly reversed in pockets across the city. Gumball's body flickered between cartoon and realistic physics multiple times in rapid succession. "Whoa!" he shouted, clinging to a lamppost that bent like rubber. "This is really stressful for a cartoon." "Good," Robin said sharply. "Stress sharpens focus, but do not panic. Titans, adjust positions." They shifted in perfect coordination. Cyborg calculated timing windows to fire between pulses. Starfire used her trajectory to disrupt energy nodes without triggering overreaction. Beast Boy tested the edges of the sphere without bouncing off violently. And Raven anchored reality with shadows, creating a constant around the tower's perimeter. Gumball tried to mimic them, flailing dramatically at first, but slowly he began to move more deliberately, matching the Titan's rhythm. His cartoon physics pulsed less wildly. The energy chains around him wavered. "Better," Raven murmured. "Now the machine has less input." Above the city, the spherical cartoon zone flickered uncertainly. The pulse rhythm became irregular. The edges wavered. Slade's silhouette remained calm, but even he seemed to notice the shift. Gumball grinned nervously. "Okay, maybe this is working. Maybe." Robin's eyes narrowed. "It will work. We impose strategy on chaos, discipline over instinct, cartoon logic versus Titan tactics. And right now, tactics are winning." The next pulse surged, and for the first time it faltered midair. The sphere of cartoon physics warped but didn't expand. Buildings held their shape. Citizens drawn in exaggerated outlines froze for a fraction of a second before snapping back harmlessly. Beast Boy cheered. "Yeah! Take that, cartoon physics!" Cyborg fired a micro-synchronized blast into the machine's beam. It absorbed the energy, but not perfectly. The beam pulsed slower. The energy tether around Gumball loosened slightly. Raven floated near him. "Keep steady. This is the moment. Your stability now directs the next move." Gumball took a deep breath, eyes narrowing with focus. For the first time, he wasn't panicking. He wasn't reacting wildly. He was observing, thinking, and moving in sync with the Titans. The machine above pulsed one final time, then faltered, and the battlefield hung in tense silence. Two worlds collided. One boy in midair. 5 Titans disciplined. Chaos contained, just enough to turn the tide. And for the first time since the rift opened, Gumball realized maybe cartoon logic could work with Titan tactics after all. The silence after the faltering pulse was deafening. For a moment, the city seemed to hold its breath. The usual chaotic distortions, the bouncing cars, floating anvils, and looping pedestrians, paused mid-motion, like the world itself was taking stock of what just happened. Gumball hovered in midair, violet energy chains loosening around him. For the first time, he felt a strange sense of control. His movements, though still exaggerated, were now in harmony with the Titan's strategy. He wasn't just chaos anymore. He was a tool, an anchor. Robin's voice cut through the tense quiet. "Titans, hold your positions." Maintain formation. Starfire hovered above, eyes scanning the now fractured skyline. The energy pulse is unstable. It will attempt another surge soon. Beast Boy morphed briefly into a low-resolution, pixelated hawk, zipping around the rooftop to test the environment. He bounced off the edges of a flattened building, then caught himself midair, landing gracefully beside Robin. The cartoon stuff is losing its punch, he noted. Feels weaker. Raven nodded. Your anchor is stabilizing the feedback loop. If he continues like this, the machine will lose synchronization. Cyborg adjusted his targeting systems, scanning the purple energy above. I've got a small window to hit the main core again. Timing is everything now. Gumball's ears twitched nervously. Small window. Timing. Wait, this sounds like math class. Raven's eyes softened, almost imperceptibly. Focus. Your creativity is now tactical. Every exaggerated motion, every reaction, use it deliberately. Don't let instinct control you. Gumball gulped, then straightened. He clenched his fists and focused. A floating piano began to descend toward the street below, but instead of crashing, he caught it mid-air, flicking it aside with precise, intentional timing. The air rippled, not with chaos, but with controlled exaggeration. The machine above responded immediately. Its energy pulses became erratic. The violet beams linking it to Gumball quivered. Slade's silhouette on the distant rooftop shifted slightly, the first sign of concern. Robin's voice was sharp and commanding. Titans now! Exploit the instability! Cyborg charged his arm cannon, firing a concentrated blast directly at the machine's core between energy pulses. Starfire followed, her starbolts weaving through the gaps in the purple beams. Beast Boy dove in, morphing into a jagged spike that struck the machine's support beams. Raven's shadows twisted around the rooftop, extending upward to disrupt the energy field. For a moment, everything froze. Then the machine shuddered violently. Its lights flickered as the purple pulses became jagged and uneven. Gumball felt the energy chains around him loosen completely. Land on the rooftop, wobbling slightly, but steady. Whoa, I did it? I think I did it. Robin scanned the machine. Good work, Gumball. Keep moving with the rhythm. Do not let it recover. The machine emitted a high-pitched whine as it tried to stabilize. But with each beat, Gumball and the Titans moved in perfect synchronization. The city below flickered with less and less distortion. Buildings stabilized. Animated pedestrians froze for a fraction of a second before returning to realistic form. Gravity remained consistent. Beast Boy grinned. We're actually controlling cartoon logic now. This is epic. Raven's eyes glowed faintly. Careful. It will attempt one last surge, more powerful than before. Gumball swallowed. Powerful, huh? Time to get tactical. He lifted his arms dramatically, his outline flickering between 2D and 3D, cartoon and realistic physics, yet every movement was deliberate. Pianos, anvils, floating mailboxes, all obeyed his control. He tossed them at the machine in precise arcs, redirecting their momentum to destabilize its core. Cyborg fired another synchronized blast. Starfire's starbolts struck the machine's energy nodes simultaneously. Beast Boy smashed the remaining structural beams. Raven's shadows constricted around the device. The machine wavered. The pulses faltered. Purple lightning splintered across the sky in random patterns, then dissipated entirely. The portal above the city began to shrink, its swirling energy slowing. Slade's silhouette on the distant rooftop remained stoic, but his mechanical device now twitched uncontrollably. The energy beams connecting it to Gumball snapped one by one. Gumball exhaled, his fur slightly ruffled, ears drooping. Okay. That was intense. Robin stepped forward, glancing at the portal. Titans, maintain vigilance. The rift is closing, but it is unstable. A wave of light burst from the portal as it contracted, and fragments of Elmore began retreating into their own dimension. Cartoon physics dissolved from the streets, buildings, vehicles, and citizens returned to normal, safe forms. Beast Boy landed beside Gumball. Looks like your chaos got contained by discipline. Gumball blinked. Wait, so I'm like the chaos anchor now? Raven tilted her head. You were always the anchor. The difference is now you understand your role. Controlled chaos is stronger than uncontrolled chaos. Cyborg's HUD beeped as systems returned to normal. Cities stable again. Energy readings back to baseline. No anomalies detected. Starfire floated gracefully beside them. And the rift? Robin's gaze was steady, but a faint frown remained. Closed for now, but the potential for another breach remains. We've contained this event, but vigilance is required. Gumball's tail twitched nervously. So, I get to go home now? Robin shook his head slightly. Not yet. You've proven useful, but you've crossed dimensions. We need to make sure your presence doesn't destabilize further. Gumball sighed. Well, at least we didn't blow up the world. Raven smirked faintly. Not yet. Gumball glanced at the Titans, who were already coordinating quietly among themselves. For the first time, he understood their discipline. He realized the beauty in order, strategy, and restraint, and how it could work in harmony with the absurdity of his own world. Above them, the sky cleared. Elmore's fragments disappeared entirely. The cartoon chaos receded, leaving Jump City intact, if slightly battered. Gumball exhaled, tail flicking nervously. Wow, Titan tactics really beat cartoon logic. Robin's expression softened slightly. It's not about beating it. It's about balance, strategy with chaos, discipline with unpredictability. That's how we survive worlds colliding. Gumball nodded slowly, realizing that his usual antics, though chaotic, had a purpose now. A controlled purpose. And for the first time he felt ready to face whatever came next. The Titans and Gumball stood together, surveying the city. Two systems had collided. Chaos and order had clashed, and for now, the world was safe. But in the shadows beyond Jump City, a faint hum persisted, a reminder that this was only the beginning. And Gumball, breathing deeply, felt the weight of two worlds resting on his cartoon shoulders. The remnants of the rift still glowed faintly in the night sky over Jump City, casting elongated shadows across the streets and rooftops. Even after the Titans had stabilized the chaos, a low hum lingered, a pulse in the air that reminded everyone that Slade's presence had not disappeared. High above, on a rooftop lined with sleek black metal and shimmering violet energy, Slade stood surveying the city below. The machine that had wreaked havoc earlier hung suspended nearby, damaged but not destroyed, its systems humming with residual energy. For the first time, his crimson visor reflected something more than calculation. Anticipation. Slade's plan had never been about destruction for its own sake. He had seen worlds, civilizations, and heroes rise and fall, each constrained by the rules they accepted. One world thrived on order, on logic, discipline, and structure. The other thrived on chaos, on narrative exaggeration and absurdity. Each had strengths, each had weaknesses, but what he craved was synthesis. A world balanced perfectly, he murmured, almost to himself, where consequences are absolute, yet flexibility remains, where order and chaos dance in harmony, and only the strongest rules dictate what exists. Behind him, a holographic display flickered to life. Slade's hand moved over it with practiced precision, manipulating three-dimensional schematics of both Jump City and Elmore. Blocks of color, energy nodes, and floating structures rearranged themselves as he traced lines of force through the air. "Target, Gumball Watterson," he said, his voice cutting through the low hum. "The anomaly, the bridge between universes, the key to controlled synthesis." In his mind, Slade saw it all clearly. A world where chaos would no longer be wild, unpredictable, or untethered. A world where Elmore's absurdity could be channeled and structured, guided by logic and discipline, without losing its vitality. Cartoon physics mastered, humor controlled. Every laugh, every pratfall, every improbable event harnessed as a resource, a weapon, a tool for perfection. "The Titans," he continued, voice low and calculated, "act as the stabilizers. They impose order. But order alone cannot dominate. Uncontrolled variables are necessary, and that is where Gumball's unique signature becomes essential. He is the spark that allows me to refine chaos into utility." Slade's hand moved over a schematic, highlighting the purple energy strands that had once bound Gumball. "These conduits connect dimensions. With careful calibration, I can extract the chaotic elements, refine them, and reintegrate them into Jump City. The result? A world that functions flawlessly under my oversight." He paused, eyes narrowing. "But perfection requires patience. I cannot simply force integration. The Titan's interference has shown me that. Restraint is necessary. Observation is necessary. Timing is everything." Far below, the streets of Jump City were quiet now, but Slade's sensors picked up subtle fluctuations in the environment. Even after the Titan's recent efforts, the residual energy from Gumball's cartoon signature pulsed faintly through the city, like a heartbeat in the fabric of reality. "Excellent," Slade whispered. "The anchor remains stable. The pulse continues. My synthesis is possible." He turned to the machine, hovering nearby. Its metallic frame reflected the faint purple glow of the rift as he activated a series of adjustments. The device hummed, lights shifting from erratic violet to steady amber. It was no longer just a portal stabilizer or extraction unit. It was the heart of his perfect world, a mechanism designed to regulate chaos with precision, translating unpredictability into utility. Slade's mind, always several steps ahead, considered contingencies. The Titans would attempt to interfere, but they had predictable limits. They could manipulate force, engage in combat, and react quickly. But even they could not fully anticipate the nuances of cartoon logic. Order and chaos, Slade mused aloud, must interact, but never equally. Chaos is the fuel. Order is the structure. With proper balance, a controlled ecosystem emerges, and I shall be the architect. From his vantage point, he observed Gumball, who hovered uncertainly above the streets, still recovering from the Titan's earlier stabilization. Slade noted the boy's reactions carefully, the way his cartoon physics flickered under stress, the subtle tics in his exaggerated expressions, the patterns of his absurd movements. "All variables accounted for," he said quietly, "all reactions observed. Now the process of refinement begin." Slade's gloved hand swept through the air, activating a series of drone-like extensions from the main machine. Each drone moved with silent precision, scanning the surrounding environment and mapping the chaotic energy pulses left behind by Gumball. "One by one, they shall bend to my will," Slade whispered. "The Titans can attempt to stabilize, but they will only delay the inevitable. True perfection waits for no one." He turned his gaze skyward. The faint remnants of the portal flickered against the dark canvas of night. Through that rift, fragments of Elmore still lingered, suspended like floating puzzle pieces. Slade smiled beneath his mask. Soon, he murmured, every fragment, every anomaly, every unpredictable event will serve a purpose. Every laugh, every pratfall, every improbable moment, contained, directed, perfected. My perfect world will be born from their chaos, guided by my order. Below, Gumball's ears twitched as he tried to orient himself. The city felt heavier now, the air charged with tension. He sensed something watching him, calculating, anticipating. Slade's presence was not just a threat, it was a force shaping reality itself. Invisible, but undeniable. The machine whirred, adjusting its energy outputs, preparing for the next phase. Slade's plan was meticulous. The first attempt at extraction had failed because of the Titan's interference, but that failure had provided invaluable data. Every misstep, every Titan maneuver, every fluctuation of Gumball's signature had been recorded and analyzed. Yes, Slade whispered to himself, a rare note of satisfaction in his calm voice. Everything proceeds according to design. My perfect world is no longer a concept. It is imminent. And soon, they will all see the beauty of controlled chaos. Above the city, the stars twinkled indifferently, unaware of the tension between two worlds, of the calculated menace perched on a rooftop, or of the cartoon boy who held the key to everything. For Slade, tonight was only the beginning. His perfect world was not yet complete, but with patience, precision, and the right variables, it would be. And nothing, not titans, not heroes, not even the wildest chaos, would stand in his way. And somewhere in the quiet streets below, Gumball's tail twitched nervously. He had no idea just how critical he had become. The game had changed, and Slade was already 5 moves ahead. The night air above Jump City was tense, charged with energy and anticipation. The faint glow from the rift had faded, but Slade's presence made the city feel alive with an invisible pressure. Every shadow seemed deeper, every flicker of light more purposeful. Slade moved with deliberate precision, his long coat catching the breeze as he surveyed the streets below. The Titans had regained control after the previous clash, but that control was superficial. The city itself remained a fragile stage, balanced between two worlds. He activated the machine again, adjusting dials and amplifiers with careful, measured movements. Streams of violet energy pulsed outward in rhythmic patterns, probing the environment and subtly testing the limits of the stabilization the Titans had imposed. Every variable has its limit, Slade murmured. Every stabilizing force can be measured, predicted, and eventually redirected. From his vantage point, he could see Gumball hovering awkwardly, his cartoonish movements slightly restrained now after learning to mimic the Titan's discipline. The boy's signature was key, the wild energy that powered the rift, that defied conventional physics. It was unpredictable, untamed, yet measurable. Perfect, Slade whispered. The spark remains, alive, but contained. Exactly as it should be. He extended a gloved hand toward the machine, and tiny drone units detached, hovering silently in formation. Each drone scanned a precise grid of the city, mapping energy fluctuations, behavioral patterns, and environmental distortions. The data streamed directly into Slade's mind, allowing him to calculate outcomes with surgical precision. The Titans are clever, he said, almost admiringly. But they rely on reaction. They anticipate chaos, but only as it appears. They cannot predict synthesis. That is my advantage. Slade's eyes glowed faintly behind his mask as he considered the next step. The previous extraction attempt had failed, but it had provided invaluable insights. Gumball's chaotic energy did not simply react to immediate threats, it adapted to strategy. The boy's unpredictability had a rhythm, a pattern that could be discerned with careful observation. And patterns, Slade whispered, can be exploited. Below, Gumball's tail flicked nervously. He had noticed the drones, had sensed the hum of the machine, and felt the weight of Slade's gaze. But the boy's usual bravado did not falter entirely. He twisted in midair, ears twitching. All right, I get it. This guy wants a perfect world, and apparently I'm the weird ingredient he needs. Slade's voice cut through the hum of the machine, amplified and precise. Gumball Watterson, your abilities are remarkable, yet limited by your ignorance. Yield to structure, and your power becomes infinite. Gumball made a face. Infinite, huh? Sounds like homework. Slade ignored the comment. Instead, he focused on the broader picture. Across Jump City, minor distortions began to manifest. Streetlights bent in unnatural arcs. Animated graffiti flickered to life before freezing. Random objects floated briefly before dropping perfectly into place. The city was alive, but under Slade's unseen hand, every fluctuation was being measured, cataloged, and integrated. Every event, every motion, every reaction, Slade said, feeds the blueprint. Controlled chaos, perfected order. My world will have no randomness, yet it will never feel stagnant. Predictable, yet dynamic. Structured, yet fluid. He extended a hand toward the rift's remnants, feeling the lingering energy that connected to Elmore. You will be reshaped, Gumball. Not destroyed, not erased, but honed, focused, refined. Your chaos will serve a purpose, and through you, a new world will be born. My perfect world. Slade's thoughts shifted toward the Titans. They had proven resilient, disciplined, and adaptive. But even they had limits. Robin's tactical formations could stabilize areas. Raven's magic could anchor pockets of reality. Cyborg's firepower could disrupt. Starfire's energy could shield. But each intervention required energy, timing, and precision. Slade understood this. He could anticipate their moves, calculate their reactions, and adjust his strategy in real time. They are tools, he murmured, almost to himself. Not enemies, not equals, tools to refine the process. Gumball's chaotic presence was essential, but he was still learning, still reactive. Slade's next steps would push the boy further, forcing him to adapt within parameters defined by the machine. Every reaction would become data, every impulse a component in Slade's perfect synthesis. The city below remained eerily calm, the chaos suppressed but not eliminated. Slade allowed himself a rare moment of satisfaction. The Titans were unaware of the full scope of his plan. The boy was unaware of the magnitude of his role. And the machine was ready to begin its final calibration. A perfect world, Slade whispered, is not created. It is engineered, and I am the engineer. He adjusted the machine one last time, increasing the precision of the energy pulses. Streams of violet and amber intertwined, forming a lattice of controlled power. Through it, Gumball's chaotic signature would flow, not wild, not uncontrolled, but focused, channeled, refined. The machine hummed, drones floated in perfect synchronization, and the city held its breath. Slade's hand hovered over a final control panel. With one calculated movement, he could initiate the next phase, extract, refine, and integrate Gumball's chaos into a new perfect synthesis. The world would be transformed. Order and chaos would dance under his command. Jump City, Elmore, and all that existed between would bend to his vision. And when it is done, he whispered, nothing will be random. Nothing will be wasted. Nothing will resist. Perfection will prevail. From his vantage point, he observed Gumball twitch slightly, as if sensing the imminent change. The boy's cartoonish eyes widened, ears flicking nervously. But Slade did not fear resistance. Resistance was expected. It was part of the data, part of the refinement. He exhaled slowly behind his mask, turning his gaze back toward the machine. Tonight, chaos becomes utility. Tonight, disorder becomes structure. Tonight, my perfect world is one step closer. And somewhere far below, in the streets of Jump City, the faint hum of the rift echoed, reminding everyone that Slade's vision was not a dream, but a looming reality waiting to unfold. Slade's eyes glowed faintly behind his visor as he monitored the city. The previous extraction attempt had provided valuable data, but it had also revealed the Titan's limits. They could stabilize zones, suppress pockets of chaos, and react with astonishing speed. But even their combined efforts could not match the precision of a mind calculating every variable simultaneously. The machine hovered silently, its amber lights pulsing in perfect rhythm. Each pulse was calibrated to resonate with Gumball's chaotic energy signature. If executed correctly, it would extract, refine, and realign his cartoon physics without harming him, transforming raw absurdity into structured utility. Gumball Watterson, Slade whispered, the faint hum of machinery amplifying his voice unnaturally. You are not a threat to me. You are a component, an essential component, in a world that will surpass mere survival, a world that will be flawless. Gumball spun nervously in midair, tail twitching. Component, component. Oh no, that sounds like robot food. Slade ignored the comment. His mind was already several steps ahead, analyzing the residual chaos in Jump City, calculating how best to begin the extraction process. He had accounted for every Titan maneuver, every variable in the city's layout, and even the unpredictable quirks of Gumball's own cartoon physics. The Titans will interfere, Slade murmured, but they will not understand the orchestration of variables. They react. I control. The difference is clarity. The drones surrounding the machine hummed in unison, scanning the city below and mapping the energy fluctuations with surgical precision. Each stream of data fed directly into Slade's calculations. He could anticipate the subtle flinches in Gumball's reactions, the way Darwin might interfere if the boy's focus faltered, even the timing of Starfire's energy attacks if she attempted to disrupt the extraction. Everything accounted for, Slade murmured. Every possibility considered. There is no room for error. Perfection demands it. Below, the streets began to ripple. Cartoon physics that had once wreaked havoc now quivered under the subtle influence of Slade's machine. Bouncing cars slowed midair. Floating anvils lingered instead of falling, and minor distortions froze as if the city itself were holding its breath. Gumball's ears twitched. Why is everything suddenly boring? Not boring, Slade's voice echoed from the machine. Controlled, structured, harmonized. Your energy will no longer be wasted on unpredictability, but channeled for purpose. Gumball flailed, trying to resist, but the violet energy strands had already begun subtly guiding him toward the machine's focal point. Hey, that's not fair. I'm supposed to bounce around, not sit in a machine. Slade's eyes narrowed. You will adapt. Your chaos is not removed. It is refined. You will become the instrument through which perfection manifests. The machine pulsed again, sending tendrils of violet energy spiraling toward Gumball. Each pulse was synchronized with the boy's own erratic signature, gently nudging him toward the extraction grid. For a moment, Gumball's cartoon physics flickered, limbs stretching uncontrollably, body flattening and bouncing, before stabilizing under the machine's influence. Raven's dark aura flared as she approached the area, floating silently above the ground. "This isn't just a physical threat," she murmured. "He's rewriting the rules. He's imposing a framework on reality itself. One misstep and the city could become permanent chaos. Or worse, permanent control." Robin studied the scene from a nearby rooftop. "Titans, stay sharp. We can't allow Gumball to be extracted completely. We need to disrupt the process, but carefully. Any miscalculation could amplify the machine's effect." Cyborg scanners beeped furiously. "I'm reading fluctuations in energy density that are off the charts. If Slade completes this, the city's physics could change permanently. We're talking about integrating cartoon logic into a structured reality. Totally unpredictable." Beast Boy shifted nervously, morphing into a long, elastic figure to survey the area without getting too close. "Yeah. Unpredictable is an understatement. That's like nightmare-level chaos math." Slade ignored the Titans, fully focused on his objective. Each pulse from the machine aligned Gumball's chaotic energy with its internal lattice. Violet threads wrapped gently around the boy, guiding him, shaping him. His exaggerated movements slowed, becoming deliberate as the machine translated every cartoonish quirk into a measurable, utilizable form. "Almost complete," Slade whispered. "Just a few more adjustments. Just a few more pulses." Gumball struggled, but he could feel his energy being funneled. For the first time, he understood the magnitude of Slade's plan. "Oh, I don't like this. I really don't like this." Slade's hand hovered over a holographic panel, fingers gliding across virtual controls. The machine adjusted, matching every flicker of Gumball's chaotic energy. The boy's body shimmered as cartoon physics integrated into structured energy conduits, his absurdity now becoming a measurable, controlled force. And in that moment, Slade envisioned his perfect world, a city where every improbable event could be anticipated, every chaos-driven energy channeled, and every unexpected outcome refined into perfection. The Titans could intervene. They always did. But Slade had accounted for every scenario. Their efforts, while impressive, could only delay the inevitable. The orchestration of chaos into order was already underway. Above the city, the sky flickered. Purple energy streamed from the rift remnants, now fully responsive to Slade's machine. Gumball floated in the center, no longer wild and uncontrolled, but pulsing with potential, his cartoon essence now the foundation for Slade's vision of perfection. Slade's crimson visor reflected the boy's stabilizing form. Yes, now the process is complete. Controlled chaos, refined absurdity. My perfect world begins here. And somewhere deep in the city, Gumball's wide eyes registered one terrifying thought. He was no longer just a boy in a cartoon world. He had become the axis of someone else's perfect design. The city trembled faintly under the weight of potential. And Slade, silent and calculating, smiled beneath his mask. The city below was eerily quiet now, the hum of residual chaos fading into a low, almost imperceptible vibration. Jump City streets had returned to normal, or at least they appeared normal. But beneath the surface, something fundamental had changed. The energy signature of Gumball's chaos, once wild and erratic, now pulsed in a steady rhythm, tethered to Slade's machine like a heartbeat under precise control. Slade stood on the rooftop, long coat flaring in the night wind, his crimson visor reflecting both the city and the faint glow of the energy conduits. He extended a hand toward the machine, checking the lattice of violet and amber energy streams. Each one represented a fragment of chaos transformed into utility. Every unpredictable moment of Elmore's absurdity now converted into a controlled, measurable variable. Perfect, he whispered. Every impulse accounted for, every anomaly quantified. The bridge between worlds is mine to command. No element escapes observation. No factor is left unchecked. This is harmony. Below, Gumball hovered in the center of the machine's field. His eyes flickered wildly as he tried to resist, but the chains of energy guiding him were subtle, almost imperceptible. For there was no pain, no violent contortions, only an overwhelming sense of inevitability. This feels weirdly boring, Gumball muttered, ears flicking back nervously. I'm not bouncing. I'm not exploding. I feel contained, like a pencil in a box. Slade's voice echoed through the field, amplified yet controlled, precise and mesmerizing. You are no longer merely chaos. You are refinement. Your absurdity has been transformed into purpose. Resistance is futile because it is unnecessary. Your energy exists now to create, to sustain, to perfect. The machine pulsed again, and Gumball's chaotic outline shimmered, flickering between two-dimensional squiggles and three-dimensional form, his exaggerated movements now tempered by Slade's calculations. The boy's absurd antics had been refined into a structured pattern. Every flail, twist, and stretch mapped into a lattice of potential energy ready to be harnessed. From his rooftop perch, Slade watched intently. The Titans can attempt intervention, but they cannot fully counter this. They operate in the realm of reaction. I operate in prediction. Every move they make feeds the calibration. Every adjustment they attempt strengthens the lattice. This is my advantage. Raven's shadowed form floated nearby, observing from the edge of the field. He's not just controlling chaos, he's weaponizing it, she said, her voice calm but tinged with concern. Every fluctuation in Gumball's energy now strengthens his machine. And there's nothing we can do to disrupt it without triggering a catastrophic overload. Robin surveyed the scene from a nearby rooftop. Titans, stay coordinated. Do not engage recklessly. Any misstep could feed the extraction. We need to buy time, distract, and prepare a countermeasure. Starfire hovered above the energy field, glowing softly. I detect immense concentration of energy. This is more than a simple extraction. He is rewriting the interactions of physics and absurdity itself. Entire systems may change if we fail. Beast Boy shifted nervously, morphing into a long, sleek figure to weave through the energy lattice without touching it. Yeah, this is like next-level chaos math. I don't even want to think about the probability. Meanwhile, Gumball floated at the center of the lattice, his body pulsing in perfect synchronization with the machine. He could feel the difference. The wild, uncontrollable freedom of his own universe had been harnessed, translated into a structured rhythm that he didn't fully understand. Okay, I guess. I'm like a living energy battery now, Gumball muttered. This is not what I signed up for. Slade tilted his head, observing the boy. Not a battery, an architect. Your chaos is no longer random. It is deliberate, structured. Every motion, every impulse, every improbable event is now a tool in the creation of perfection. You exist not to defy, but to enable. The machine pulsed again, violet energy spiraling in intricate patterns around Gumball. The lattice shimmered like a constellation of controlled absurdity, threads of cartoon physics woven into a coherent framework of power. Slade's vision of a perfect world was taking shape, not through destruction, but through refinement. "The process is nearly complete," Slade whispered, his voice calm and assured. "Soon, this energy will integrate fully into Jump City. Chaos and order will coexist, balanced under my guidance. The city will be a living system of precision, every anomaly accounted for, every fluctuation harnessed. My perfect world will begin here." Gumball's ears twitched, and for a fleeting moment, a pang of resistance sparked within him. He tried to flex, to twist free, but the lattice anticipated every micro-movement, subtly redirecting his energy into the machine. "You cannot fight inevitability," Slade murmured. "Resistance is not failure, it is data. Every reaction strengthens the lattice, every impulse feeds perfection. This is the essence of my world." From the shadows, Raven's eyes glowed violet. "The machine is stabilizing, but it won't last forever. There's still a chance to disrupt the flow, but it will require precision, timing, and complete coordination. One mistake." "One mistake," Robin finished, "and the city could permanently integrate cartoon physics into reality. Entire systems destabilized." Slade ignored them, hands on the controls. He could feel the rhythm of the energy pulses, the syncopation of chaos, and the precise flow of refined absurdity. He smiled beneath his mask. Yes, everything aligns. Controlled chaos, structured absurdity. My perfect world is nearly here. Gumball's eyes widened, finally understanding the stakes. He was no longer merely a boy from Elmore. He was the key to a new order, the living conduit of Slade's ambition. And Slade, poised above the city, exhaled slowly. Soon, all will witness the elegance of perfection. The Titans, the boy, this city. They will be instruments of creation. My perfect world begins now. The lattice pulsed, the energy streams flared, and the night itself seemed to hold its breath. The countdown to perfection had begun. The night air over Jump City felt heavier, charged with a strange tension that vibrated through the streets. The faint remnants of the rift between Elmore and Jump City pulsed in the distance, a reminder that two worlds had collided, and that the collision was far from over. Gumball hovered precariously above the city streets, his cartoonish form flickering as violet energy from Slade's machine coursed around him. The extraction field was stable, but relentless, guiding his chaotic energy into a lattice of order designed by Slade. Every exaggerated motion, every improbable bounce, every wild squish of his body was being converted into potential, an instrument in Slade's plan for a perfect world. "Okay, think, Gumball, think," he muttered, ears twitching nervously. "If I'm the key, then maybe I can use the key to not get turned into a science experiment." Below him, the Titans watched carefully. Robin's eyes narrowed as he studied the machine. "Titans, hold positions. Any rash move could feed Slade more control. We need precision, observation, and subtlety." Cyborg scanners beeped urgently. "I'm reading fluctuations in the lattice. The extraction's not fully stable. There are micro gaps, tiny windows where we could disrupt it without triggering a surge. But timing is critical. One wrong step, and the boy's energy could spike uncontrollably." Starfire hovered, her hands glowing. "I sense a delicate balance. The machine integrates chaos with precision, but the chaotic force remains alive. That force is Gumball's spirit. We must protect it, even as we act." Beast Boy, shifting nervously between a thin, elastic form and a jagged, spiky shape, whispered, "Yeah, and that spirit is, like, pure chaos. A big, bouncing, headache-making chaos. I don't envy anyone trying to control it." Raven's shadowed cloak rippled in the faint wind. He can't be controlled in the traditional sense, but he can be guided. And guided he must be, or Slade's machine will fully integrate him into his lattice, turning his absurdity into something permanent, irreversible. Gumball twitched in midair, his limbs stretching in impossible angles as the lattice pulsed around him. "Oh no, I feel like spaghetti," he muttered. "And not the yummy kind." Slade's voice echoed through the field, calm and precise, resonating with the machine's rhythm. "Gumball Watterson, your chaos is no longer aimless. It will be refined, directed, perfected. You are not a victim, only a participant in the creation of my vision." Gumball squirmed. Participant, more like unwilling volunteer. "Silence is unnecessary," Slade's voice continued, almost soothing in its tone. "Your energy has value. Your chaos is the tool through which perfection manifests. Do not resist, and your contribution will be acknowledged in due time." But Gumball's mind raced. He had never been one for restraint. He thrived on unpredictability, on bouncing around, breaking rules, and defying expectations. And now, with every exaggerated limb flick and wild expression being captured and converted into structured energy, he realized something. The only way to survive this was to embrace his own chaos, fully, deliberately, creatively. He took a deep breath, tail flicking nervously, and closed his eyes for a moment. Then, in a sudden burst of defiance, he spread his arms wide and let his entire body writhe, stretch, and bend in ways that even he didn't expect. The lattice reacted instantly. Energy threads wavered, spiraling in unexpected patterns. The machine pulsed violently, as if struggling to adapt. "Interesting," Slade murmured, eyes narrowing. "The variable resists. Deliberately. It adapts." Raven's eyes glowed faintly as she analyzed the field. He's learning to work with the system instead of against it. By embracing his chaos rather than fighting it, he creates new pathways. If he can sustain this, he may destabilize the machine from within. Cyborg gritted his teeth. "That's risky. One wrong move, and it could overload the lattice, creating a chain reaction that affects the whole city." Robin's expression remained calm, but intense. "It's the only chance. Titans cover him. Distract the machine's sensors if necessary, but let him channel his energy. Controlled chaos is the key." Gumball's eyes snapped open, glinting with determination. "All right. Chaos mode, full throttle." He twisted his body in impossible spirals, bouncing in multiple directions at once. Gravity seemed optional, physics merely suggestions. Anvils, pianos, and mailboxes suspended in the air collided harmlessly, each deflection amplifying the unpredictable energy streaming from him. The machine tried to contain it, but every pulse from Gumball disrupted the rhythm, sending shockwaves through the lattice. Slade's visor reflected the swirling chaos. Fascinating. Adaptive energy. The variable evolves. Beast Boy cheered from the sidelines. "Yeah. Go, Gumball. Smash that predictable nonsense." Starfire focused her energy, carefully ensuring that none of Gumball's chaotic pulses accidentally harmed the surrounding city. His energy is wild, yet beautiful. Harnessed properly, it could reshape the field entirely. Raven's cloak shimmered as she extended a shadowed anchor around the perimeter, stabilizing pockets of reality, while allowing Gumball to move freely within the lattice. He is not merely reacting. He is improvising. This is the essence of controlled chaos. Understanding your limits, bending them, and using them to your advantage. Gumball grinned, bouncing higher, spinning faster, and letting every exaggerated motion flow naturally, yet deliberately. The lattice wavered, pulses shifting in irregular patterns, struggling to adapt to his unpredictability. Slade's mechanical drones emitted a low hum, recalibrating to counteract the boy's energy. But each adjustment only gave Gumball more data. He began to anticipate the machine's responses, twisting and contorting in ways that created feedback loops Slade had not predicted. "Impressive," Slade murmured, voice tight with controlled irritation. "The variable has learned to exploit the system. Perhaps this will be more challenging than expected." Gumball's laughter echoed through the city streets, a chaotic, triumphant sound. For the first time since the extraction began, he realized something fundamental. He didn't need to escape by brute force. He could embrace his chaos fully, bend it, twist it, and use it as a weapon against Slade's control. And in that moment, Jump City itself seemed to vibrate with his energy. The lattice surrounding Gumball pulsed violently, energy threads snapping and reforming in unpredictable patterns. For the first time, the machine that had once contained him now trembled under his influence. Violet energy spiraled chaotically, arcs of cartoon physics bending in ways even Slade had not anticipated. Slade's crimson visor narrowed as he studied the unexpected feedback. "Incredible," he muttered. The variable is no longer passive. It adapts. It evolves. Each impulse is no longer just energy. It is strategy. Below, the Titans shifted into defensive positions, prepared for the fallout. Robin's voice was precise and calm. "Titans, stay coordinated. Let him do what he needs to, but maintain protective coverage. Every action he takes could destabilize or empower the field." Raven's eyes glowed faintly, shadow energy weaving around the lattice's periphery. "He's not just resisting. He's improvising. This is pure chaos intelligence. If he sustains it, the extraction field will become unstable, and Slade's control will weaken." Beast Boy transformed into a massive jagged ball, bouncing around the perimeter to intercept minor surges of energy. "Yeah! Keep bouncing, Gumball! Make that lattice cry, Uncle!" Starfire's hands flared with golden energy as she carefully shielded nearby civilians and stabilized portions of the street without interfering with Gumball's chaotic flow. His power, it is magnificent, unpredictable yet guided. He is learning to wield chaos as a weapon, not a curse. Gumball, spinning midair, realized he could sense the patterns within the lattice, tiny micro-delays in the machine's responses, subtle arcs where energy feedback would momentarily weaken. "Okay, so if I twist here, and squish there, and do a loop-de-loop, maybe. Yep, that's it." With a flurry of improbable movements, Gumball began to synchronize his chaos with the lattice itself, creating a series of feedback loops that bounced energy unpredictably. The machine's stabilizers flickered, struggling to compensate, while the drones reoriented themselves frantically, unable to keep pace. Slade's hand moved over the controls, fingers gliding with precision as he tried to regain balance. "Fascinating," he whispered. "The variable is learning faster than anticipated. It anticipates my corrections. It is no longer a tool. It is a partner in adaptation." Gumball's laughter echoed across Jump City, a cacophonous blend of triumph and absurdity. "Take that, you perfect world guy. You can't control me anymore." Robin's eyes darted across rooftops. "Titans, anticipate energy surges. This is not just chaos. It's now tactical. Every movement Gumball makes alters the lattice. We need to protect him while he destabilizes Slade's system. Cyborg's scanners beeped furiously. I'm seeing exponential feedback loops forming. The lattice is beginning to fracture under his influence. If he pushes it further, Slade's machine could collapse entirely. Raven's cloak rippled in the wind as she extended shadow anchors into the surrounding cityscape. Careful, Gumball. Harness the chaos, but don't let it explode uncontrollably. We need precision within unpredictability. Gumball grinned. Precision within unpredictability? That's literally my life. He darted in impossible arcs, flipping upside down, stretching, and squashing himself in ways that defied gravity and logic. Each exaggerated motion fed back into the lattice, creating chaotic surges that disrupted the machine's calibration. Drones attempted to correct the energy streams, but Gumball anticipated each response, twisting and bending his movements to counteract their adjustments. Slade's crimson visor reflected the swirling chaos. Unbelievable, he muttered. The variable has transformed the field. My perfect world is resisting. The machine shuddered violently, energy arcs snapping and reforming as Gumball's improvisation gained momentum. Violet pulses flickered uncontrollably, striking the surrounding city with waves of cartoon-like distortions. Cars stretched into impossible shapes, lampposts bent in midair, and street signs spun like tops. Yet miraculously, Raven and Starfire maintained structural stability for the citizens below, shielding them from harm while allowing Gumball's chaos to flow freely. Oh. Beast Boy cheered. Yes, you're doing it. Make that lattice your bouncy playground. Gumball paused mid-spin, tail flicking thoughtfully. He realized he wasn't just bouncing around aimlessly. He was reading the lattice, predicting its responses, and improvising tactics on the fly. Every flail, every stretch, every impossible somersault was now purposeful. Strategic chaos. Chaos. Tactical chaos. I get it, Gumball shouted, eyes sparkling. I'm the Chaos General now. The machine emitted a high-pitched whine, struggling to stabilize. Energy threads tangled, drones collided midair, and Slade's control waned. The lattice had begun to fracture, pieces of it snapping back in uncontrolled directions, feeding Gumball's chaotic impulses and amplifying them exponentially. Slade's hands tightened over the control panels, but even he realized that the variable was no longer predictable. The system adapts faster than anticipated. This is extraordinary, he murmured, almost with respect. And in that moment, Gumball laughed, a wild, irrepressible sound. He had embraced his chaos fully, not resisting the machine, not fighting it, but guiding it, bending it, and turning it into a weapon. Jump City vibrated with his energy, a living testament to the unpredictable power of imagination, absurdity, and uncontrolled creativity. Above the city, violet arcs of energy danced in the night sky, reflecting in Slade's visor. For the first time, the villain felt uncertainty, the thrill of a challenge that even he could not fully calculate. And in the center of it all, Gumball twirled, stretched, bounced, and spun, embracing the chaos. The lattice trembled under Gumball's chaotic influence. Violet and amber energy streams wove unpredictably through the machine, flickering like lightning trapped in a web. Drones attempted to stabilize the field, but each correction was anticipated, countered, and amplified by the boy's adaptive chaos. Slade's visor reflected the unfolding storm, crimson light flaring as his calculated world shifted beneath him. The variable evolves too rapidly, too unpredictably. Yet, fascinating, he muttered. For the first time, he faced a variable he could not fully dominate. A force that responded not just to his calculations, but to its own improvisation, its own instinctive logic. Gumball twirled midair, bouncing off invisible surfaces, stretching limbs in impossible spirals. Yes, that's it. I'm I'm chaos incarnate. His laughter echoed like 1,000 rubber bands snapping simultaneously, playful but defiant. Raven's eyes glowed violet as she analyzed the scene. He's no longer resisting. He's integrating himself into the lattice, learning its rules while bending them. He's using the system against itself, controlled chaos as a weapon. Robin's hands clenched into fists. Titans, maintain focus. Shield the city, protect civilians, and let him operate. Every move he makes now is crucial to breaking Slade's extraction. Cyborg's scanners screamed alerts. Energy spikes everywhere. If he pushes any harder, we could see total lattice collapse, but that might be exactly what we want. We just need him to sustain control without going over the edge. Starfire's arms glowed as she stabilized surrounding structures. His energy must flow freely. Every impulse strengthens his connection with the lattice. This is true mastery of chaos. Beast Boy zipped between buildings, morphing constantly to avoid stray energy arcs. Dude, this is insane. He's turning Slade's own machine into a trampoline. Or like a giant weird bouncy castle of doom. Gumball's eyes sparkled with excitement. He could feel the feedback loops forming around him, the machine's attempts to recalibrate feeding into his own improvisation. Okay, so if I squish, then twist, then bounce here. Yes, that's it. With a series of contorted flips and stretches, Gumball created a new rhythm in the lattice. Energy threads snapped, reconnected, and spiraled outward, feeding back into the machine in ways Slade hadn't predicted. The drones flinched as violet pulses twisted unpredictably, some arcs recoiling and others accelerating beyond control. Slade's hands moved rapidly across the controls, but each adjustment seemed to fuel Gumball's chaos further. No, impossible, he muttered. The variable manipulates the system itself. My perfect world, it resists. The city streets below quivered as pieces of cartoon physics leaked into Jump City. Mailboxes stretched into accordion shapes, lampposts bent into impossible curves, and cars performed improbable flips. But the Titans kept control. Raven's shadows anchored buildings, Starfire stabilized energy fluxes, and Beast Boy redirected chaotic debris, ensuring the city was intact. Gumball's grin widened. Ha! Look at this! Your perfect machine. Can't perfect me. Robin's voice was sharp and commanding. Titans, keep him safe, but let him exploit the lattice. Gumball has found the key. Every motion now strengthens our advantage. The lattice, once rigid and controlled, now pulsed with improvisational energy. Gumball had become the conductor, orchestrating chaos into patterns the machine couldn't anticipate. Each bounce, twist, and stretch reinforced the feedback loops, feeding energy back into the city itself. Slade's crimson visor glimmered with frustration and fascination. The variable is no longer a tool. It is an artist, shaping the machine, reshaping the field, redefining the rules. He gritted his teeth, and yet the potential, exquisite. Gumball paused mid-air, considering the next move. He realized he could manipulate the feedback intentionally, forcing the lattice into temporary fracturing points and exploiting them to gain even more freedom. All right, here goes. Maximum chaos maneuver. He spun, twisted, and stretched through a series of exaggerated contortions, creating a ripple effect across the lattice. Energy arcs collided, drones faltered, and the machine shuddered violently. For a moment, the entire system teetered on the edge of collapse. Cyborg's voice crackled over the comms. Whoa! The lattice is breaking down, but Gumball's still in control. Keep going, kid, don't let him panic. Raven's shadow energy wrapped around Gumball protectively. He's channeling chaos perfectly. Observe the pattern. It's deliberate, improvisational, yet stable. If he maintains this, Slade's extraction will fail entirely. Starfire's hands blazed, containing minor surges and stabilizing nearby structures. His energy is magnificent. The more he embraces his chaotic nature, the more control he gains. Gumball's laughter rang out, pure and triumphant. Ha! That's it! I'm the Chaos Master now. Take that, Slade! Slade's visor glowed brighter, crimson reflections of the city and lattice dancing across it. The variable defies control, adapts to every adjustment, evolves unpredictably, fascinating and infuriating. Above the city, violet and amber arcs of energy pulsed like lightning, wrapping around Gumball and radiating outward. The machine strained, threads snapping and reforming, but Gumball's improvisational chaos maintained the rhythm. For the first time, Slade realized that perfection could not exist without chaos, and that chaos, when embraced and mastered, could overpower even the most precise control. And Gumball, at the center of it all, smiled wildly. He had embraced his chaos completely, and in doing so, had become the key to dismantling Slade's perfect world from within. The lattice of violet and amber energy now quivered like a living organism, stretching and bending with every unpredictable motion Gumball made. What had once been a precise, calculated field under Slade's control now resembled a storm of pure, untamed chaos, but one guided, directed, and amplified by the boy's own ingenuity. Slade stood on the rooftop, fingers clenching over the control panel, frustration evident in every measured movement. This variable refuses to be constrained. Every attempt at control strengthens it, reshapes it, adapts. It is no longer just chaos. It is intelligence. His voice was barely audible over the hum of the failing machine, yet it carried an edge of admiration. Gumball twirled, stretched, and bounced in impossible arcs, each movement designed not to fight the lattice, but to exploit it. His body seemed to pulse in sync with the energy, a living conductor orchestrating a symphony of controlled absurdity. "All right, let's push this thing to its breaking point," Gumball shouted, grinning. "Time to show Slade what chaos really means." Raven's shadowed form flickered above the lattice, stabilizing key areas while leaving intentional openings for Gumball's energy to flow freely. He's creating feedback loops within the system. Each pulse destabilizes the lattice just enough to give him more control. If he can maintain this, the extraction will fail completely. Cyborg scanners beeped frantically. He's generating energy spikes I've never seen before. If he keeps this up, the machine could implode. Or worse, integrate unpredictably with the city itself, but the kid's holding it together. Robin's eyes were sharp, tracking every movement. Titans, keep the perimeter secure. Let him exploit the lattice, but do not let it spiral into total destruction. Precision within chaos is key. He's learned the rhythm. Our job is to support him while he leads. Starfire's glowing hands stabilized nearby buildings and street structures. His energy is magnificent, unpredictable, yet deliberate. The boy has mastered the balance between chaos and control. This is true ingenuity. Beast Boy zipped through the streets, morphing into various shapes to intercept stray energy arcs. He's like a bouncing, squishy hurricane of awesome. Go, Gumball, go. Gumball laughed, his voice echoing across the city. Ha, that's right. Chaos doesn't follow rules. It makes its own rules. The lattice began to fracture visibly. Energy threads snapped and reconnected in erratic patterns. Drones collided mid-air, and the machine shuddered violently. For a moment, the entire system seemed on the verge of collapse, but Gumball's improvisation held it together, turning potential destruction into controlled expansion. Slade's crimson visor reflected the chaos, every movement of energy magnified in his sight. Impossible. The variable is no longer constrained by the lattice. It anticipates every adjustment, turning my perfect world into a playground of unpredictability. The city itself vibrated under the energy surges. Streetlights bent in arcs, cars twisted and somersaulted harmlessly, and minor distortions flickered like cartoon effects on reality. Yet, thanks to Raven and Starfire, the citizens remained safe, protected from harm, while Gumball's chaos intensified. Gumball floated at the center of the lattice, tail flicking with concentration. Okay, think like the lattice, move like the lattice, be the lattice. Wait, no, be the chaos. With a sudden burst, Gumball twisted in multiple directions simultaneously, creating overlapping energy pulses that sent shockwaves through the machine. The drones were flung off course, the lattice flickered wildly, and the field began to collapse inward. Slade's hands flew across the controls. But it was too late. The machine shuddered, energy threads snapping like broken rubber bands. No, this cannot be. I controlled everything, he hissed, fury lacing his voice. But Gumball's laughter rang out, triumphant and unstoppable. Yes, take that, Slade. Your perfect world can't handle a little chaos. Robin's voice cut through the turmoil. Titans, hold positions. Let him maintain the rhythm, but be ready to stabilize reality if it tips too far. This is our chance. Raven's shadows extended protectively, anchoring unstable areas while allowing energy feedback to flow. He's not just resisting, he's rewriting the rules. Chaos becomes a tool, a weapon, and he's mastered it. Cyborg's scanners went haywire, but he grinned. The machine's failing and Gumball's in control. Whoa, this is insane. Gumball grinned wider, spinning, bouncing, and stretching in impossible ways. Every pulse he generated now worked with the lattice, not against it, amplifying his power while dismantling Slade's control. Slade staggered back, realizing the truth. The variable is no longer mine to control. It has embraced its own nature, and in doing so, it has transcended my design. The lattice began to collapse completely, arcs of energy snapping and dispersing into the night sky. Gumball floated at the center, triumphant. The chaotic energy of Elmore now integrated into Jump City, but on his terms. He looked down at the Titans, grinning from ear to ear. See, chaos wins, and it's way more fun than perfection. Raven nodded, approvingly. He has embraced the chaos fully, and in doing so has become more powerful than the machine itself. Starfire's glow softened as she observed the aftermath. His energy has transformed the field. Slade's control is broken, yet no harm has come to the city. The boy has mastered what few could. Beast Boy cheered. Yeah, go, Gumball, you did it! Cyborg nodded, wiping sweat from his brow. That's some serious chaos management right there. Above the city, violet and amber arcs dissipated into the night sky. Slade stood in stunned silence, realizing that his perfect world had been undone, not by brute force, but by the unpredictable, imaginative chaos of a single cartoon boy. Gumball floated at the center of the dissipating energy, laughing, stretching, bouncing, and entirely unstoppable. The city had survived, the lattice had collapsed, and chaos had prevailed. And Slade, for the first time, understood that perfection could never exist without the wild, untamed force of unpredictability. The night had finally fallen into a tense, uneasy calm. Jump City's skyline glowed with faint residual arcs of violet energy, remnants of the chaos that Gumball had unleashed and mastered only hours before. The lattice that had once threatened to enslave his cartoon essence had collapsed entirely, leaving only the faint hum of unstable energy threads weaving through the streets. Gumball floated mid-air, limbs still twitching from the exhilaration of his recent escapades. His body flickered slightly, bouncing between the exaggerated elasticity of his cartoon form and the three-dimensional reality of Jump City. Phew, that was, intense. Like, super intense, he muttered, ears flicking nervously. And kind of fun, too, I guess? Robin landed silently beside him, cape fluttering in the evening breeze. You did more than just survive, Gumball. You destabilized Slade's extraction machine without harming the city. That's remarkable. His voice held a rare note of respect, tinged with awe. You embraced your chaos instead of fighting it, and in doing so, you turned it into your greatest weapon. Gumball blinked, trying to process the gravity of Robin's statement. Wait, so you're saying all that bouncing, twisting, flailing wasn't just me being silly? No, Raven said softly, floating nearby, shadows curling around her like protective tendrils. It was strategy. You integrated unpredictability into the system. You didn't just react, you improvised. You guided chaos rather than letting it guide you. That is mastery. Cyborg stepped forward, grinning despite the weariness etched across his metal-plated face. And you made Slade eat his words. The machine. Total meltdown. City. Completely intact. You've officially earned the title of Chaos Specialist, Gumball style. Beast Boy morphed into a massive confetti cannon, spraying harmless bursts of color into the air. Yeah, and you didn't even have to turn into a huge monster or anything. Classic Gumball move, chaos plus smarts, legendary combo. Starfire floated above, her golden hair glowing softly in the dim light. The energy you released has stabilized naturally. The chaos has integrated into the city's systems without harm. You have restored balance between worlds. Gumball's eyes widened. Balance between worlds? He tilted his head, tail flicking anxiously. Wait. I didn't break Elmore and Jump City forever, did I? Robin shook his head, voice calm but firm. No, you prevented disaster, Gumball, but we're not entirely safe yet. Slade's defeat here doesn't erase the fact that rifts between worlds still exist. Residual energy is lingering, and it could cause unpredictable effects if left unchecked. Raven's shadowed tendrils pulsed faintly as she scanned the area. The machine's collapse destabilized the rift, but it did not close it entirely. Jump City and Elmore remained connected at a quantum level. Some phenomena might persist, improbable physics, temporal flickers, and, if left unattended, residual cartoon logic leaks. Gumball twitched nervously. So, we're still connected? Like portals and stuff? Oh, great. I did all that bouncing for more problems? Cyborg chuckled. Not problems, kid. Opportunities. Think about it. Elmore's chaos and Jump City's reality can coexist now. You've created a unique bridge. Something special. But yeah, it's fragile. You've got to be careful. Starfire's hands glowed as she analyzed the energy. The worlds are stabilized through a delicate resonance. Your energy signature, your chaos, remains the key. Without your influence, residual fluctuations could create unintended disruptions. Gumball's ears flattened. Wait, so it's still my responsibility? I just survived the craziest battle ever. And now, more responsibility? Robin placed a hand on Gumball's shoulder, firm but reassuring. Not responsibility alone. You have allies now, Titans, Elmore friends, and your own instinct. You've proven that unpredictability can be controlled and even weaponized when used wisely. Raven's eyes softened slightly. And don't forget, your chaos is what saved both worlds. Without it, Slade's vision of perfect order could have been imposed across reality. You turned a tool of oppression into a shield of freedom. Gumball floated silently for a moment, processing the enormity of her words. He had never thought of himself as a hero, not really. He was just chaotic, silly, unpredictable. But now, he understood that his absurdity, his very essence, had become the bridge between worlds, the force that preserved freedom. Beast Boy bounced in excitement. Yep, you're officially a cross-universe hero, dude. And the best part? You did it without even trying to be serious all the time. Cyborg nodded. Exactly. Your improvisation, your energy, your gumballness, that's what made all the difference. Gumball blinked, tail curling with a mixture of pride and nervousness. Okay, wow. I guess I did it then. I saved both worlds? Robin gave a slight nod. Yes, but keep in mind, this is just the beginning. The rifts are still present. Energy threads remain unstable in some areas. You've proven you can guide chaos, but vigilance is still required. Gumball slumped slightly, relief mixed with apprehension. Oh, great. So I'm like Chaos Guardian now. Awesome. Raven's shadowed form hovered closer. Chaos is not something to fear. It is something to understand. You've embraced it, Gumball. You've made it your ally. That will define your role moving forward. Above the city, faint remnants of energy flickered, but the streets were safe. Civilians cautiously returned to their routines, unaware of the near catastrophe averted. The night had been a crucible, and Gumball had emerged not just unscathed, but empowered. For the first time he felt it, the weight and potential of his own chaos, no longer something to hide, no longer merely mischief. It was a force to shape, a tool to protect, a bridge between worlds that only he could navigate. And somewhere across the still resonating rift, faint glimpses of Elmore shimmered in the distance, waiting. The city had quieted, but the energy lingering from the lattice crackled faintly in the corners of Jump City. Neon lights flickered, cars occasionally warped slightly as cartoon logic bled into reality, and a soft hum of residual chaos pulsed through the streets. Gumball floated above it all, still catching his breath, tail twitching nervously. Okay, so I saved the day, right? But the city's kinda weird now. Raven's shadow cloak shifted around her as she hovered beside him. It's not permanent, Gumball. The residual chaos will stabilize over time. Your energy integrated into the lattice, but the threads of your world and this one are still separate. Think of it as a blending of probabilities rather than a full merger. Gumball blinked. Probabilities. Okay, so if I step on that mailbox, it might explode into confetti, or I might just bounce off it. Beast Boy morphed into a giant pogo stick, bouncing on the warped street. Exactly. Things are unpredictable now, but safe. Mostly. Like a giant cartoon playground that doesn't totally destroy reality. Neat, huh? Starfire floated gently, observing the cityscape. The structural integrity of the city remains intact. Your chaotic energy has not harmed the fabric of reality, but it has enhanced its flexibility. Improbable phenomena may occur occasionally, but they are minor and non-threatening. Cyborg leaned on a lamppost, scanning the area with his tech sensors. I'm detecting minor temporal loops and elastic distortions. Basically, cartoon physics anomalies. Nothing catastrophic, but yeah, pedestrians might see things, moving weirdly for a bit. Gumball groaned. So, My fun chaos is now part of the city. People are gonna think this is some weird new theme park or something. Robin adjusted his cape, eyes sharp as always. It's a temporary adjustment. Over time, these anomalies will settle as the energy stabilizes. But for now, we need to monitor key points, especially areas where your energy interacted most directly with Slade's lattice. Raven's eyes glowed faintly, scanning the perimeters. Slade's defeat didn't erase all potential threats. While his machine has collapsed, the rift remains a conduit for interworld interactions. If left unchecked, it could create unpredictable results both in Jump City and Elmore. Gumball twitched nervously. Wait, so I still have to babysit the worlds like a chaos babysitter? Beast Boy laughed, bouncing alongside him. Basically, yeah, but you're the fun kind of babysitter, the one who lets everyone jump on the furniture and invent crazy games. Cyborg shook his head, half smiling. It's not as easy as it sounds. You've got interdimensional energy threads running through reality now. It's kind of like having supercharged Wi-Fi that can punch holes in the universe if mismanaged. Gumball's eyes widened. Supercharged. Wi-Fi. Universe punching. Got it. Great. Sounds like my kind of job. Starfire's glow softened. You have a unique ability to harmonize chaos with reality. Few beings could manage it. Your presence stabilizes the rift naturally, provided you continue to guide your energy consciously. Robin crossed his arms. Gumball, we'll help you. Titans are here to monitor the situation. You're not alone in this, but your instincts, your creativity, they're the key. Without them, the residual energy could destabilize. Raven's voice was calm, but firm. You've learned to embrace chaos instead of resisting it. That is your greatest strength. But remember, power without awareness can cause unintended consequences. Use your energy carefully. Gumball exhaled, tail flicking anxiously. Okay, so fun chaos, but aware fun chaos. Got it. I can do that. I think. Maybe. Beast Boy cheered. That's the spirit. You've got this, dude. You're basically the hero of, like, 2 worlds now. Cyborg glanced at the city with a mixture of awe and concern. You've turned a near catastrophe into a controlled interdimensional event. The lattice collapsed, Slade's plan failed, and yet the city is intact. That's insane, even for us. Gumball floated midair, grinning despite the lingering tension. I guess chaos really is my thing, huh? Who knew all my bouncing around would actually save worlds? Starfire nodded, floating above him with a serene smile. Indeed, your energy has reshaped the balance between worlds. Where others see absurdity, you see opportunity. Where others see chaos, you find potential. That is rare and remarkable. Robin placed a firm hand on Gumball's shoulder. Remember this night. Not just the battle, but the lesson. Chaos is not something to fear. It can be harnessed, guided, and even turned into a weapon of good, if you have the creativity and discipline to use it. Gumball tilted his head, absorbing the weight of their words. So, I'm like a chaos ambassador now? Kind of like the weird kid who saves everything by being me? Raven allowed a small, approving nod. Precisely. You are the bridge between worlds. Your uniqueness, your absurdity, is what maintains the balance. Above the city, faint remnants of violet energy shimmered in the night sky. The rift between Jump City and Elmore pulsed gently, no longer violent, no longer threatening, but alive, a subtle reminder of the events that had unfolded. Gumball floated there, tail twitching, body bouncing slightly with nervous excitement. Okay, I can do this. I am chaos. I can save worlds. And maybe It's actually kind of fun." Beast Boy clapped him on the back, laughing. "Yeah, that's the spirit. 2 worlds, 1 Chaos Master. You're basically a legend now." Cyborg smirked. "Just remember, kid, the real work begins after the battle. You've got responsibility now, but you've proven you're more than capable." Gumball exhaled deeply, a mixture of relief and excitement washing over him. He had embraced the chaos, defeated Slade, and preserved both worlds, and now he understood the true value of his absurdity, creativity, and unpredictability. Above the still glowing city, the faint hum of residual energy settled into a steady rhythm. The worlds were safe for now. And Gumball Watterson, master of chaos, floated above it all, ready for whatever improbable adventure awaited next. The first rays of dawn broke over Jump City, painting the skyline with soft golds and pinks. Violet and amber remnants of Gumball's chaotic energy flickered faintly across rooftops like the last traces of fireworks lingering in the morning sky. The city appeared calm now, almost serene, but beneath the surface the subtle hum of interdimensional energy persisted, a quiet reminder that 2 worlds were still connected. Gumball floated above the streets, limbs stretched and twisting unconsciously as he adjusted to the residual energy. "Okay, note to self," he muttered. "If your chaos saves the day, you get to sleep. Eventually. Probably. Maybe." Raven hovered beside him, her eyes scanning the subtle fluctuations in the air. "The energy threads are stabilizing, but they remain sensitive. You are still the anchor, Gumball. Your presence moderates the connection between Jump City and Elmore." Cyborg adjusted his sensors, giving a thumbs up. "Everything's reading stable, for now, but some of these residual arcs are unpredictable. You'll need to keep monitoring the hotspots. Think of it like energy pulse maintenance, with cartoon physics." Gumball twitched nervously. "Maintenance, with cartoon physics. Got it. This is my life now, huh? Chaos Manager of 2 worlds?" Beast Boy transformed into a large trampoline, bouncing gently on a warped street, then back to human form. "Yeah, dude, and you're totally rocking it. Who else could survive Slade's machine and still be fun?" Starfire hovered gracefully, her golden hair glowing in the rising sun. "You have restored balance, yet the 2 worlds remain separate. Your energy continues to act as a bridge. You are a protector not only by action, but by your very essence." Robin stepped forward, cape catching the morning light. Slade may be gone for now, but the rift remains a potential vulnerability. There could be others, or unforeseen consequences of interworld exposure. We must remain vigilant. Gumball twitched his ears and gave a half smile. "Other bad guys. Other weird world stuff. Great. I get to bounce around some more?" Raven's shadow tendrils flickered around him. "You've learned the lesson of controlled chaos. You can guide it, predict it, and use it, but you must remain aware. Uncontrolled impulses could destabilize not just this city, but Elmore as well." Cyborg grinned. "Think of it this way, kid. You're like a walking, bouncing reality stabilizer. You've got the energy, the brains, and the absurdity to pull it off." Beast Boy cheered. "Yeah, and it's way more fun than the boring hero stuff. You get to stretch, squash, bounce. Chaos rules." Gumball exhaled and twirled in midair, tail curling with relief. "Okay, so, chaos rules, but responsibly. Got it. I can do that." Above them, faint ripples shimmered across the sky. The rift between worlds pulsed softly, less violent than before, but alive. Glimpses of Elmore shimmered faintly through the barrier, ordinary streets and familiar houses flickering in and out of visibility like reflections in water. Robin's gaze hardened. "We need to study these rifts carefully. Even though Slade's machine is destroyed, energy residuals remain. Temporal distortions, elastic anomalies, and improbable physics could persist. Your chaos maintains stability, but we can't be complacent. Starfire nodded. Your energy has transformed the connection into a stable resonance. Over time, the rift will continue to adjust. Your presence ensures balance, Gumball. But you must be mindful. Your instincts and creativity are critical. Gumball twitched nervously. So, I'm like the world's babysitter again. But fun babysitter, right? Beast Boy slapped him on the back. Exactly, the fun kind. Chaos Ambassador Extraordinaire, and everyone gets to live another day. Cyborg smirked. You pulled it off. Slade's perfect world plan failed. The lattice is gone, and the rift stabilized. You're basically a legend, kid. 2 worlds saved by bouncing chaos. Not bad for a cartoon kid from Elmore. Gumball's grin widened, even as his ears twitched nervously. Wow, so I'm a legend now? Chaos legend? Raven allowed a faint smile. You've mastered what few could even attempt. By embracing chaos instead of fighting it, you became more than a mere variable. You became the variable that defines stability itself. Robin stepped forward, voice steady. Remember tonight, not just the battle, but the lesson. Chaos is not a liability. It is a tool. Unpredictable, yes, but when guided, it is a strength. That is what you demonstrated. Gumball floated above the city streets, the first real smile breaking across his face. He felt it, the weight and potential of his own chaos, no longer a burden, but a force of protection. Okay, I get it now. Chaos can save worlds, and I'm the Chaos Guy, the Chaos Master. Beast Boy cheered again, bouncing around. Yeah! And now the worlds are lucky to have you. Above the city, the rift pulsed gently, the 2 worlds shimmering softly in harmony. The energy was no longer violent, no longer threatening, just a quiet resonance connecting Jump City and Elmore, with Gumball at the center, the bridge, the master of chaos. Gumball exhaled deeply, his body still twitching from residual energy. Okay, so this is my life now. Chaos, responsibility, fun, and maybe a little scary, but mostly fun. Raven's voice was calm, final. You've embraced the chaos fully, and in doing so, you've become more than a hero. You've become the balance between worlds. Remember that, Gumball. Your essence preserves both realities. Gumball looked out over Jump City, sunlight glinting off the buildings. He had faced the impossible, embraced the absurd, and saved both worlds. And now, the adventure was just beginning. The sun rose fully over Jump City, casting long golden streaks across buildings still faintly shimmering with residual energy from Gumball's chaotic victory. The streets were mostly calm, though subtle distortions persisted. A mailbox elongated like a balloon, a streetlight bent in improbable angles, and shadows stretched in whimsical patterns. The city had survived Slade's machinations, and it now bore the marks of Gumball's influence, not destructive, but undeniably surreal. Gumball floated in the soft morning light, limbs contorting and bouncing reflexively. Okay, so the city survived, Slade's gone, and I didn't totally break reality. I think that's a win? He twirled in midair, ears flopping as he tried to stabilize himself. Yeah, I'm calling that a win. Raven hovered beside him, her shadowed cloak rippling gently. A win indeed, Gumball. But remember, the rift remains. The interdimensional connection you created is stable, yes, but still fragile. Your presence moderates it, and your awareness must remain sharp. The worlds are safer because of you, but they are not invulnerable. Cyborg, leaning casually on a warped streetlight, adjusted his sensors. I'm reading residual energy spikes, but nothing catastrophic. Think of it as animated static. Weird, unpredictable, but ultimately harmless if monitored. You've got the power to keep it that way. Beast Boy bounced in his usual over-the-top style. And that's where the fun begins. You get to, explore all the crazy stuff now. Elastic streets, bouncing buildings, giant malleable objects. Dude, it's a playground. Starfire floated above them, radiant in the morning light. Your energy has created a bridge, not only between worlds, but between the laws that govern them. You have turned chaos into a stabilizing force. That is extraordinary, Gumball. Robin crossed his arms, his cape catching the sunlight. Gumball, what you accomplished tonight cannot be overstated. You faced the impossible, turned the unpredictable into a weapon, and preserved both cities. Your actions have created new opportunities and responsibilities. You must remain vigilant. The rift, while stable, can attract threats or anomalies. Gumball twitched, tail flicking nervously. Responsibilities. Right. Chaos management. Got it. That's like my new job now? Raven's eyes softened slightly. Not just a job, Gumball. A calling. You've discovered the potential of your chaos, learned to guide it, and used it to protect lives. Few could have done what you did. Few could even conceive it. Cyborg nodded. And remember, kid, you don't have to do it alone. Titans will support you, and you've got your friends from Elmore. We're all part of this now. 2 worlds, 1 chaotic bridge, and you're at the center. Beast Boy cheered, transforming into a giant spring that bounced harmlessly along the warped streets. Yeah, 2 worlds saved, chaos mastered, fun guaranteed. You're basically a legend already. Gumball floated there, blinking slowly, tail curling thoughtfully. A legend, huh? I just bounced around, did some weird stuff, and somehow saved everything. That's actually pretty cool. Starfire nodded, her eyes glowing warmly. Indeed, your creativity and adaptability have proven to be invaluable. You have redefined the concept of heroism through chaos, through humor, and through imagination. Robin placed a firm hand on Gumball's shoulder. Tonight, you learned something important. Chaos is not a weakness. It is a tool. You can direct it, control it, and use it to protect the world. But awareness is essential. Remember your instincts. Trust your creativity. That will define your role across both realities. Gumball took a deep breath, tail flicking slowly. Okay, so chaos is my power. Imagination is my weapon. And I actually have to be careful while still having fun. Raven's shadow cloak rippled softly. Exactly. Controlled chaos. The balance you've achieved is remarkable. You have transformed unpredictability into order, absurdity into strategy. You are now the guardian of the bridge between worlds. Cyborg smiled, giving a thumbs up. And the best part? You get to keep having fun while doing it. That's not something everyone can say. Beast Boy bounced excitedly. Seriously, elastic streets, weird physics, impossible flips, this is your domain now. Chaos playground extraordinaire. Gumball's grin widened. For the first time, he felt the weight of responsibility without the crushing fear of it. He was not just a boy who stumbled into chaos. He was its master, its guardian, and its hero. The absurdity that had defined him had become a force for protection, creativity, and balance. Above the city, the faint remnants of violet and amber energy pulsed gently in the morning sky, marking the connection between Jump City and Elmore. No longer violent, no longer threatening. The rift hummed with quiet life, a symbol of cooperation between worlds and the triumph of unpredictability over imposed perfection. Gumball floated at the center of it all, laughing softly, stretching impossibly, bouncing gently in the calm after the storm. He had faced the impossible, embraced the absurd, defeated Slade, and preserved both realities. And now he understood his purpose: to guide chaos, to protect the worlds, and to celebrate the improbable in a universe that often demanded perfection. With a final playful somersault, Gumball landed lightly on a street lamp, tail flicking confidently. He looked out over Jump City, then glanced toward the faint shimmer of Elmore in the distance. All right, world saved, chaos mastered, fun accomplished. Now, what's next? And somewhere across dimensions, the rift pulsed faintly, waiting for the next adventure, the next improbable challenge, the next chance for Gumball Watterson, the Chaos Master, to show just how powerful a little unpredictability can be.